Hey guys,
Hello.
welcome back to Spooky Sleuths.
This week we're doing something a little bit different. You may notice an extra person with us.
Hi guys.
This is my cousin Kayleigh. She's here to share some experiences with the supernatural, the little ghosties that she has encountered in her healthcare career, and maybe share some other stories with us. I'm Sammi.
And I'm Nicole,
And we are Spooky Sleuths. So we're so happy you came.
Hey, thanks. It's my first time, guys, so I'm a little nervous, but thank you guys for having me. I bought you both a little gift because we're updating the pod lab. So this is like for both of
I
you.
don't even see you bring this down.
But a little bit more, it's a little bit more for you since you were having us over tonight.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's so cute.
So cute.
Yes,
It's a little cat.
the scaredy cat.
We
So
love
That
it.
is great.
we got that at Wit and Whimsy in Marietta. So local shop that supports local artists, and I put the card behind
Oh,
the.
perfect.
So if you guys want to pick up more, because they do a lot of kind of like spooky art. So
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
figured
great.
right up your guys' alley.
Yes, and it will fit in new well with our pod lab, our new pod lab. There we go. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks
I didn't
for
even
having
see you
me.
bring that downstairs.
You know, I feel like I looked at it, but I didn't think like.
Well, it was under your tree, and then I just kept like bringing it with me. So
Spread it down here like a ninja.
I know figure's a good icebreaker.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. So let's talk about ghosts in
Oh
healthcare.
my goodness. All right. So I've been in healthcare, not to show my age, but 20 years now. I started out at a nursing home. So that's kind of my first spooky experience. And I'll tell you the one that sticks out with me the most. So I had this patient, we'll say her name was Violet. And I used to work night shift. So lucky for me, I worked like 10 to 6. And I got
It
to
always gets creepier at night at
Yeah.
nursing homes, hospitals. like-
Everywhere. It's just creepy working the night shift.
Yeah, and pretty much like when you're like an STNA, you just start on top of the hour and you just go and kind of turn and change patients, right?
Right.
So I was on this floor, it wasn't the wing, and I look down the hall and there's a door down the hall and I see this guy leaving, okay? Like he has a flannel coat on, he's got a hat. I can vividly remember what he looks like. And I'm watching him leave. And I'm like, well, that's weird. It's like 2:00 in the morning. And I had,
Where you going, buddy?
yeah. So I go down to the room that I had seen him leave out of, like I said, Violet. And I went in there and I'm like, Violet, was there somebody in your room? She's like, yeah, that was my husband. He likes to come visit me late at night. And I'm like, okay, cool. Okay. Remember, I'm 17. So I don't think there's anything suspicious about this at this point. And it's wintertime. I think it was actually around Christmas. So she's talking to me about her husband a little bit. And I'm like, all right, everything's good. Get her tucked and fluffed. I go back out and I'm like telling the girls. And I'm like, so I just saw Violet's husband. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, he just left. And I'm like explaining what he's wearing and everything. And they're like, Violet's 104 years old. Her husband died like 30 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
That is so creepy.
Yeah. And I'm like, you guys are lying to me. They're like, no, we're not lying to you. Like, you can go in the room and see. Like, she has his obituary in there. And I'm like, stop. Like, I'm so freaked out. And they're like, no, this is for real. So eventually when I go back in, I look, sure enough,
There's an obituary.
there was an obituary. I'm not going to try
my
to pretend I
gosh.
remember when he passed away, but there was a picture of him wearing that outfit.
Oh, wow.
So creepy.
That would be terrifying. And I mean, I've had patients before tell me that their husband was just in there visiting with them, and my attention is immediately up. I'm like, oh no, they're coming to take you with them. I'm preventing that. So hopefully Violet did not pass soon after.
I mean, she's 104.
But she was 104, so
Yeah.
I mean,
She did well.
but that's also like kind of an omen in nursing. Like if a patient starts talking about seeing a deceased loved one, like
absolutely.
you're on edge the rest of your shift.
Yeah. But I didn't know that. So, like, I guess fortunately for me at that time, I had no clue. And I really didn't think there was anything weird about it. I'm like, okay, cool. See you later, Violet's husband. And so that was like my first kind of spooky encounter in healthcare. So as you talked about, like my house, definitely a lot of weird things that's happened in my house. Allegedly, it was a funeral home. But we don't know that because the records were gone. But it has all the parlor doors. So
Right.
lots of encounters there. But I don't want to put them out there because my parents will make fun of me.
Well, but you've had experiences at my parents' house, and I've already put those out on the internet. So you can feel free to talk about those if you like.
I know. I've tried so hard to get your mom and dad to let us go in there.
Yes.
Not for me to be there. But I do anger the spirit.
So we will bring you with us to get some activity going, and then you can leave.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. So I think you might have touched a bit on it, but I can't remember. Is every child has seen the same little ghost. Like, your sister saw it. Leanne saw it. My son did. Like, all of the children saw this little girl, and they all described her the exact same way. The old-timey clothes. And I think, didn't she have a name? Like, was it like Emily or something?
I think it was Anna.
I can't remember.
She had a name because a psychic told me her name, and I think it was Anna.
Yeah. I don't remember, but
I'm pretty sure.
there was lots of weird things that happened there. So I was house sitting one time and watching you,
Yep.
you and your sister back then, and the ghost really did not like me staying in the house. So I remember waking up at like 3 a.m. and hearing like pots and pans banging in the
Yeah.
kitchen. And then later on, like noises in the basement. So creepy. And then my phone ended up like turning into like static. Like all the time you would play music. And at the time it was that song Boston. Do you remember that song?
Yes.
And then the I forget, serenading something. I don't know, but it was like in a slow static-y. And every song after that played like that with the static. So I had to take my phone to Verizon, and they said they had never seen that before, and I had to get a new phone. And I swear it was the ghost.
Ghost possessed your phone.
So when your phone messed up at the cemetery, I was like, I've been here before. I know that this happens.
Yeah. Like, remember the shoes would be like lined up?
The ghost would like set shoes at the bottom of the basement steps, like pointing upwards, like a pair of shoes set correctly pointing up towards this, like they were walking up the stairs.
That's creepy.
And when I was house sitting that time, you know, all the kids, like, of course they didn't put their shoes in the right place, and we woke up and they were all like lined up.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. You guys need to get in there.
That house is scarier than the Bel Air house.
Which is saying something.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you talk about the claw marks on the door?
I think I did I think we talked about those, but just
We did a short form content of that.
Yeah.
But not.
Yeah, so for those who haven't seen on TikTok, we had little dogs growing up. We had Shih Tzus and Yorkies. Not big enough and not with the claws enough to leave claw marks on walls or doors.
Like at light switch level, right?
Right. And our basement door at my parents' house, one day, just 3 claw marks down the basement door. Deep, embedded claw marks down the door. Yes. Nail marks down the door.
For sure.
And then a couple years later, 3 more above my parents' light switch in their bedroom. Way too high for a dog to hit, even if it was a dog. But our dogs couldn't have done that. They'd never done that before. So that was very strange. And that is why I think something demonic is in that house. I think there is a little girl and a demonic entity, or a demonic entity acting like a child,
Which is common.
to interact with the children, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that house is very interesting, and there's like no history to support it. But my dad last year or the year before was redoing my old bedroom and pulled out from the vent, hand sewn, an old t-shirt with some kind of substance that looked like blood. And it was wrapped in tinfoil and shoved in my bedroom vent. And my bedroom was usually the hot spot. Like, she would come, I would feel the ghost breathing next to me while I'm trying to go to sleep. My things would go missing. There's a burn mark on the bedroom floor. I wasn't even old enough to like smoke or anything like that to be like, okay, I burned it. Like, I don't know. But yeah, my bedroom was usually where the activity really sparked. And
Probably because you're evil.
I mean, probably. It probably felt connected to me.
It knew.
So I went to a psychic, and the psychic told me, you know, she was about your age. You know, I was like 16 when I went to the psychic. She was like, you know, she was a little bit younger than you, but we'd lived there for a long time. So she just grew attached to me, and she would like to play with my things. Like, so I don't know. There's no history behind that house. Like, there's no history of people opening portals or deaths on the property. So it really doesn't make sense, but it kind of started to come together when my dad found that clothing in the vent. It's like, okay, something had to have happened that is not documented.
I know. He called me when he found that, and he was like, "You're never going to believe what I just found." I'm like, whatever it is, put it back.
Yes.
Put it back. Don't touch it.
He did not put it back. He took it to the police department, and he said, I don't want it. I don't know if it's connected to anything. I don't care if you do anything with it. I don't want it. So, you know, I think that was the right thing to do, you know, since he already took it out in the first place. But
Very creepy. And I remember the people that were living in that house before. I don't recall them having a daughter. Now, they tell me that the man did not die in that house, but I remember visiting him, and I think he was like on hospice, and remember visiting his wife, and he was like in a hospital bed. So I don't know for sure. And I mean, I was so young, but
yeah,
I don't know.
My mom also probably would choose to believe that no one ever died in the house too, because she denies that there's a ghost in the first place. So
yeah, she'll hear something banging. She's like, it's fine. It's just
must have been the wind.
Yeah, exactly. Total denial. One of these days, though, we're gonna sneak in.
Yeah,
and record.
I mean, no, we're not.
No. We are not turning off the camera she has set up to see her dog.
Yeah. We would never enter the house without their explicit consent.
Yeah. Wink, wink. My dad doesn't watch this anyway. It's fine.
You're right. I do remember, like most, when the kids were little, having seen the girl in your bedroom. Like, I remember Braylon talking about the little girl being behind the door. Mm-hmm. He's like, she's right there. Like, can't you see her? I sure can't. Nope.
Don't want to. I would always swear I saw a dark figure behind my door, a tall, dark figure. Mm-hmm. And after a while, I just started sleeping with the door shut. I was afraid of seeing that and afraid of seeing something walk up the hallway. Yeah. So...
And to this day, when we drive by that house at nighttime, I am not looking, okay? I'm just going straight by. I'm not looking because I do not want to know what's in that window.
And I feel like people have seen her in that window, and they've told my parents about it. Mm-hmm. It's really strange. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give
us some likes and what emojis so we can show this to our parents to get us in there.
Yes, if this video blows up, we might be able to convince my dad to let us go.
It's not him that needs convincing.
And he would not do it with us, because that's the thing. He doesn't want us to do it because he doesn't want to know.
We don't have to tell him.
I don't blame him. I don't know.
I wouldn't want to know.
Let's be honest. I don't know if I want to know at this point what's been messing with us for what?
It has to be like 20 years.
22, I think. I was a freshman or sophomore when you guys moved in there.
Because we moved in before they got married, and she's my stepmom, but we moved in there a long time ago. So it's been ongoing, and it wasn't very long until it started, and it just started with her like moving things. So it's progressed over the years, but yeah, that house is scary.
Very spooky.
I don't like the basement there.
No. You can't catch me in that basement.
No. And it's a huge basement, and we played in there all the time as kids. But I won't, as a grown adult, will not go in that basement.
I mean, if we had our equipment there, you would go down in that basement.
And with someone with me. I used to be terrified when I would have to flip the laundry for my mom.
They would tag team and go down together.
Yes, we would. We could not go by ourselves.
Yeah.
So scared. But
there's nothing there. It's just the wind.
It's just the wind.
Yeah.
So do you have any other healthcare stories about ghosts?
Yeah, so you might be able to relate to this one. So I worked on a unit, and I worked on this unit as a travel nurse, and I like would leave and come back, whatever. So I was there like a lot. And then Sammi actually ended up working there.
Yeah.
But so there was this story that there was a ghost named Rita who had passed away on the floor. I don't know if that part's true. That's just always what I told. Do you remember? I think
that's what I heard was that she passed away on the floor.
Right. So the colors for the nurses' uniforms was royal blue. So we were all blueberries. But Rita allegedly was of the time that she had the white uniforms with like the skirt and the nurse hat, the hat, and red hair. Rita had red hair. And you can ask, like, so many people know about this. I think it's legendary in that health system. So I was told about Rita, and, you know, it's just like, okay, it's a pretty old hospital, pretty old unit, and...
Lots of death there. Of course, it's going to be a little haunted.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of expect that at any hospital. But I remember, like... a lot of instances, actually. But in particular, one of the first times was we had Mo, and Mo had gotten this patient, and we had just, like, wheeled her in the room. And the door shut. So we were just like, no big deal. It's just, like, a draft. And this is a young patient. Like, I remember she was probably in her 20s. And so we're just like, okay, like, bad draft, whatever. Just kind of, it's middle of the night.
Must have been the wind.
We're tired, whatever. And so we do something else.
All of us hallucinated the same thing. It's crazy.
So we go open the door, and we're just kind of like talking. The door just literally slammed shut again. And she looks, and she was like, get me out of this room. I can feel it. There's bad energy. Like, get me out of this room. And I'm like, it's fine. It's not that serious. She's like, nah, I want out of here. So we did end up actually moving her, but I didn't have any sightings of Rita at this time. And then, so one night we did have somebody who passed away on one side of the hall, and we were all just kind of vibing at like 2:30, maybe 1:30, I don't know. All of us are kind of in that night shift slump, of course. And on that side, there were all men. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say this word because, you know, we shouldn't say it in healthcare, but it was very quiet.
Yes.
That night. It was very quiet. And we all heard a woman yell, help. And we all heard it coming from one side. So we all, like, jump up and we go running and we're, like, looking for a woman in distress.
Right.
Nobody there. There was no woman. Like I said, on that side of the hallway, no woman. We went on the other side, looked. Nobody had yelled help. But we all heard it. I mean, I feel like you could ask anybody.
That's crazy.
And we all heard someone yell.
Well, I mean, you all would have had if you all jumped up. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, you know, jump into action.
And we're
Yeah.
all like looking at each other like, you heard that, right? But
Yeah.
like I said, somebody had passed away like a few hours before. So we don't know if it was maybe that or if it was Rita, but
I feel like patients reported, none reported directly to me, but I feel like I've heard through other nurses that patients would report and ask for the red-haired nurse in the white uniform. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know her name. She was just in here. I just forgot to ask her for something.
yeah.
All the time they would report that.
Yeah, my most vivid sighting, which wasn't me, but had a patient, she was really bad shape. And she's like yelling, like, hey, come in here. So I pop in and she's like, what was that woman doing? And I was like, what woman? She's like, you know, that nurse who was just in here. And I'm like, I don't know who was in here. Like, I'm sitting in where the computers are. There's 2 computers, room on the left, room on the right. And she's on the room on the right. And so I'm like, I'm sitting out here. Like, I didn't see anybody in here. She's like, she was wearing white. And I was like,
no.
She's like, she had red hair, like had the cap on. And I just kind of like made a face of like, keep your face neutral, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. And she was like, she was a ghost, right? I was like, nah, no, there's no ghost here. And she's like, I'm going to die. Oh. And I was like, sis, not tonight, okay? Like,
nope.
Not tonight. We're not going to do any of that. And she's like, I've always been sensitive to things like that. And she starts describing her exactly as other people have described her. And she's like, nobody else here is wearing white. Like, I know that I'm going to die. Unfortunately, she did pass. Like you were talking about earlier, she passed not that shift. It was like within a couple of days. But yeah, so anytime somebody saw Rita after that, I was like, oh man.
Everyone
God,
prepare.
dang it.
I'm
Let me
ready.
go move the code cart next to this room.
Yeah, I've got the stretchy pants on, like we're ready to go. But when I moved eventually to the other hospital, like EMS came over and they were like, we were just talking about the other place, and they're like, have you heard of Rita? Like, have you seen Rita? Like, we've seen Rita. And I'm like, never seen her, but I've heard about her.
That's so crazy. I mean, it makes sense that a hospital would have ghosts, but I don't know.
I'd be so mad.
Especially one that's active enough to like go and check on patients.
Yeah.
Like that's wild.
Yeah, a lot of people reported, like Sammy said, seeing her there. I would be very mad if that's where I was spending my afterlife.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on duty, okay? Like,
Yeah.
after 7:30 a.m., your girl's off duty, but...
Yeah, when I pass, I want to haunt maybe like, if I die before Dave, I'm going to go find him and haunt him. Or I'll go be vengeful and like wreak havoc on somebody that I hate.
Sammy, we're not supposed to hate people. We love everyone.
We love everyone. Yeah, for sure.
We love everyone.
I just
yeah.
know wherever I'm haunting, we're going to be getting down to, like, Little John, Chingy. Like, it's going to be a party, a millennial throwback.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to my afterlife. I know I'm actually terrified of it, but I'm also looking forward to all the like shenanigans I'll get to pull.
As long as I'm not stuck on the hospital unit,
Yeah.
like that sounds like hell. It's like American Horror Story, Coven, where she's like
Yeah.
repeating the frog dissection.
That would suck.
That's exactly what I would expect Rita's afterlife to look like.
Yeah, I don't want to be stuck in a residual haunting.
Yeah, no
Just
offense,
keep
Rita. Don't come at me.
just doing stuff over and over and over again. I want to be an intelligent spirit.
Well, you need to get to work then.
How about
Yeah.
you, Nicole? Have you ever had any spooky experiences?
I really hadn't up until
Me.
up until I took one of our other friends that was more interested in paranormal than I have to the Bel Air house because she wanted to go. And then, I mean, that was history.
Yeah.
But no, before that, I mean, I'd had like creepy feelings like when I worked in the nursing home and stuff. The older nurses were always like, make sure that window's open so they can get out. Like,
Yeah.
But actually, no, like when I was younger and stuff, didn't really have any experiences or anything. It's all pretty new for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and your kid is totally different. Your kid waves to people in the corner
Okay, she does do that.
and on the ceiling, and she'll like follow them, like watch them move across the room.
We'll be laying in bed because I still have to like lay down with her to get her to go to sleep at night. And I was like, okay, good night, I love you. And she'd be like, hi. I was like, oh man, tell him good night. It's time to go to bed.
Oh my goodness. That's probably what Sammy brought home.
I
right?
know.
Well, we we had tarot cards read at a convention that we were at, and she read yours and talked about her.
Yeah, she's going to be sensitive. You need to hone her craft. I was like, okay, suppress the craft.
Yeah. None of this. We're going to sage her. Yeah. I had a tarot reading once. My cousin took me for my birthday, and the guy, it was at what's the place called? The castle, the Anchorage.
Yeah.
And so I went up there, and he was doing a tarot reading, and he was like, are you in healthcare by chance? I did not look very healthcare-ish at the time. I had like the rainbow hair kind of before it was like acceptable. And he was like, you just have a lot of spirits attached to you. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And he was like, yeah. He said, they're not vengeful, but they're protecting you. He's like, I see two family members, one who passed like a long time ago, which I kind of think maybe is my great-grandma, and someone who had passed recently. And he's like, you have a lot of people connected to you.
Like, great.
Yeah. And all I can think about is this one patient who passed away at my first job that I had. She passed away on her way out to being transferred. And she was a spitfire. Like, she needed heart surgery, and she's in the room like lifting weights, like just the little like 1 pound weights, and we're like, sis, please stop. I know you want to be healthy and active, but like this is not it for you. Yeah. And so unfortunately she passed. But the room that she had passed in, like the call light would go off when nobody was in there, and there was like lights. And then one night the computer system that has like all the telemetry went out.
That's
and
crazy.
The person who worked the desk was like, I've worked here since like 1987 and I've actually never seen this happen. And I'm like, well, it was Patty. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely her. So
Oh my gosh, that's wild. I feel like the call lights would go off at that hospital too. I feel like I remember that. A couple of times a call light would go off and there'd be nobody in there. And nobody had just left out of there. Like, you know, maybe the call light fell or something. No. I'm thinking there's a couple times that happened. That was a little creepy. But I was already into the paranormal stuff at that point, so it didn't scare me.
Yeah. Like, I've always watched paranormal stuff, like on TV, like
Yeah.
Paranormal State and stuff. That was my jam growing up.
Right.
But actually experience it not until, the past couple years.
Well, Kayleigh and I also experienced a UFO.
Aliens.
Yes. Swear on my life.
All right, tell us about it.
it's very true.
So we were coming home from, I think we were coming home from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
For after a concert one night. This was a long time ago. At least 10 to 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have been 16 to 18. And we were coming home from a concert from Pittsburgh. We were driving through St. Clairsville, Ohio.
We were past that right there
Yeah.
past that on 70. Yeah.
So there was just this thing in the sky just floating. It wasn't an airplane because it wasn't moving. It was just floating. And we weren't the only cars that slowed down to look at this.
No, like we all came to a stop.
Everyone came to a stop on the interstate.
We all came to a stop because it was like so bright. It was like greenish.
Yeah.
And it was just like floating, but then it started going down. Like it looked like it was about to crash. And so we're all stopped, like semis, everything. We're just like, what is going on?
Yeah. And then it just like disappeared.
Gone.
That is creepy.
It still gives me chills to this day because I don't know what it was.
It was the weirdest thing. And, like, I don't remember too many details about it, but, like, even the FBI came to investigate UFOs in our hometown.
Well, it was like Salt Fork.
Yes.
Yeah.
Close to our hometown.
Yeah, close. Yeah, there was a lot of sightings. We ended up, so it was like 4th of July weekend. So then you're automatically going to be like, oh, it was just fireworks. But we were waiting for the fireworks. And I have a video of it somewhere. But my son and I were outside. I think he was like 2 or 3. And we were jumping on the trampoline. And I look up opposite direction where the fireworks are going to come from. And it's dusk. It's not even time for fireworks. And I see this like orange just floating there. And I'm like, that's weird. What is that? And I'm just watching it. And I'm like asking my son, like, do you see that? So I took a video of it. And then I like go out to get my dad. And I'm like, you got to come out here and see it. It's still there. Just like hovering, but super high up. Like it's not anything close.
Yeah.
And then
It's
it
not
just
like a kite or something.
Yeah, right. Like I'm so confused. It lasted for minutes. So then it just like zoomed off. And then a few days later, the FBI actually was called in because so many people were reporting like strange sightings in the area. I think it was like 2010, maybe 2011. We're gonna have to look it up, but I'm gonna find that video for you guys so you can upload it. It's way back when the quality was terrible, but
If we
there.
can find that video, we'll insert it here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll look for it.
But yeah, like a whole bunch of wild stuff goes on at Salt Fork. Like there's Bigfoot sightings at Salt Fork. We went on a Bigfoot walk once trying to find Bigfoot. We were hunting him down. I mean, not hunting. Like we were just walking. We didn't have like
Sammy's
weapons.
got a shotgun on her back.
I think the like History Channel shows have been there, like the monsters.
Yeah. And they do a Bigfoot conference there every year where a bunch of experts come in. So We have a whole bunch of fun stuff going on in southeastern Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah, like our grocery store, our local grocery store sells like the Bigfoot,
Yes.
concrete Bigfoot. So like as you're just driving around the counties, instead of the deer statues, it's people with like Bigfoot statues, you know?
That tracks. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder why nobody has big Mothman statues like that in West Virginia. I think there's a market for it, and we should tap that.
If you would like a Mothman concrete statue,
I would like
leave us
to
a
tap
comment.
Mothman.
Who can get in touch with somebody to make a Mothman statue for you guys?
Let us know, because I really feel like we would make so much money.
I mean, people buy Mothman stuff.
And we could have him holding a pepperoni roll.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that.
I am a genius. I'm a marketing genius.
Who made the Mothman statue that's in Point Pleasant? Like, can we get in contact with them and see if we can do something like that?
We want to go to the Mothman Museum because we didn't get to when we were at the festival.
There were so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're wanting to go to the actual museum and talk to people there, and we should ask. We should be like, hey, you want to go into business with us? We don't have the money. You have to pay for it all, but we'll sell it. So
I'm here for it.
unless you all subscribe, and then we can make the money and make this happen.
So if you want a Mothman concrete statue,
Holding
let
a
us know.
pepperoni roll.
That is key. Pepperoni roll is key. You guys got to get out of West Virginia a little bit. Come up to Southeast Ohio.
We have some Ohio things planned for next year. We haven't set dates on all of them yet, but we have some.
We
things.
did want to go Bigfoot hunting though.
Yeah.
Up at Salt Fork.
And we want to camp out and try to find him at night.
Do we?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure there's gotta be-
You know, for somebody that refused to go camping with me last summer, you've got 2 different times this upcoming year you want to go camping.
Camping is gross
Camping is not gross.
because you have to pee outside and then you accidentally wipe with poison ivy leaves and you get poison ivy in your nether regions.
That's why you take toilet paper.
If you come prepared, it's a little bit different. The experience is way better. Listen, I am here because I'm going to go with you guys to the police, whatever the place is called.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to go there, but I'm car camping because there will be space and locked entrance between me and whatever those evil entities are. They're not coming home with me, okay?
There's not evil ones at the place we're going.
Yeah, that's what you guys say, but
It's a Native American, like, old burial ground.
Yeah,
We might see
but
flesh pedestrians.
But nobody
Katie
told me
is
that.
native.
I'm kidding.
Nobody told me about that part. Back up a second.
Kayleigh can she can connect on a different level than we can.
Maybe. I mean, my people are based
Like,
out
hey,
of Alabama.
do you know my tribe?
But
Did you guys ever cross paths?
We cool? Please, all good.
no, I don't want to bring it home. I swear, like,
We'll sage you.
okay, I need some kind of cleansing. I don't go with these guys to ghost hunts because I'm terrified of it. Because when I was working at another hospital, we all kind of had like a weird night where we could hear like knocking on the bathroom door and the sink was turning on and off. And the girl who was sitting in that room was like, I got to get out of here. Like, there's something weird. Fast forward to I went to the house I was staying at and the lights kept flickering that day. And I'm like, I'm not here for it, but I don't know this house very well, so I'm just going to track that to being like an electric default.
Yeah.
And then I went home after my stretch, and CJ doesn't believe me about this, but I have video. Okay, this video I can find. I have my Amazon Prime up, and I'm holding my remote, and it's just flicking through. It's just going through. And then it starts going down, and then it's going up, and then constant. So like any normal person, I turned off the TV.
Right.
Turned it back on. It was still doing it. So then I unplugged it and waited the 2 minutes because, you know, I was a VCR kid. Waited, turned it back on, and it was still doing it. And so I was like, oh my God, I brought one home.
Yep.
Brought one home. Went to sleep, didn't do it again, but now I'm terrified. I'm paranoid.
Nicole's husband says that I bring stuff home, but it's not me.
I kind of feel like maybe it is.
I feel like it is.
You just said earlier that you felt like you were the common denominator with the ghostly experience at your parents' house.
I mean, yeah, but this is a different ghost.
Something threw your microwave off the wall.
That is true. We'll have to insert a picture here. Our whole cabinet with our dishes and our microwave came flying off the wall and hit me.
Which we think it's because the dishes were too heavy, and after a year, it just had enough of it. But
yeah, a whole year it stood, but
You're also
fine.
leaving out the part that what did you do the weekend before that?
we were ghost hunting the weekend before, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's when you were at the Bel Air house that I was on the live.
Yeah, it was at least recently before that. So
It was literally right after because I'm like, immediately, you brought that home. That's why I'm not going.
that house is a different level. Someone like you, we would not take there.
You don't have to worry about it. Do not have to worry.
We could take you to like the Anchorage house or something.
Yeah, I've been there. I did my tarot
Yeah.
card reading. It was,
Yeah.
I don't know. I get real sensitive to those dark vibes, man. It's just
yeah, and Bel Air is there's light there, but there's a lot of dark there too.
that like heaviness, it's just, I think that's my super talent and my job is like, I can tell when
Yeah.
things are impending and
When things are gonna go south.
yeah, I mean, it's great for me because I'm very proactive about that. But man, that heaviness is just
Well, in that house, it's a noticeable difference when you walk through that door, that heaviness that hits you, and when you walk back outside. It is night and day. So I love it, but it's not for everybody.
yeah.
And even we get scared all the time there. So I don't know. It's something else. It's out of this world. I don't know. But there's a lot of UFO sightings reported over the Bel Air house too, which is up near St. Clairsville where we saw ours. So up in that area.
Ooh,
Because it's right across the river from Moundsville.
I'm here for all the
But-
alien talk. I'm
Yeah,
here
me
for it.
too.
Didn't they just recently talk about aliens in the ocean?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, by the way, there's aliens in the ocean.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Maybe what you guys should consider is getting dive certified.
Yeah.
Because CJ and I are, and we could go ghost or alien hunting in the
Oh
ocean.
my gosh,
That's
could.
a new market.
My first step is to learn how to swim.
I also don't know how to swim well, so it's okay. It's okay.
You should see me at the ocean. The waves win every time, and I just float right back up.
You're real good though when you have a goal. So like,
Damn.
you're very driven and motivated. So let's go. Come on,
We
guys.
could get dive certified and go alien hunting.
It's a whole market.
What are you gonna do if we find one and it intelligently talks to you? You will shit your pants.
Well, good thing I'll be in the ocean so I can just float off.
Great.
And you have a suit. The suit will contain the poop.
Oh, ew. I'd rather just float out.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm giving you guys all the ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on here today. We really appreciate it. We always love chatting with you.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah, leave us a comment down below if you want Kayleigh to come back.
Leave us a like if you want her to go ghost hunting with us.
Oh, or leave us something, an emoji, if you want us to get her parents to allow us to ghost hunt. That's the one I will do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's comment a ghost emoji down below if you watched this far into the video, and we'll show my dad, and he will convince my mom.
There we go.
Make sure you check us out over on TikTok and Instagram at Spooky Sleuths Pod. If TikTok goes away, we'll be shifting to doing more YouTube shorts and Instagram content, but we'll let you know if that happens.
Yeah. If you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, leave us a rate and review. And on Spotify, you can even leave us a little comment so you can put your emojis in there. And on that note, stay spooky, friends.